A very warm welcome in the class of homogeneous functions and Euler's theorem under the function of several variables. Myself Rupak Bhattacharya, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, JIS College of Engineering. For this particular topic, for today's discussion, we need some prerequisites, and these are already being discussed in your class in this particular segment, as well as there are something which is already discussed in your 11-12 days. We need the combination of both of them. So first of all, we need the concept and various tools for function of several variables, and then we also have the idea of partial differentiation. This partial differentiation will be used not only for the previous problems what we have discussed, but also it will be used to verify the Euler's theorem which will be proposed in today's class. We need also the concept of differentiability and various problems related to differentiability which was discussed in the last to next class. And then we have also used the algebraic techniques, or in some cases algebraic identities, which are actually used to solve the problems related to them. So let us start the class for today's topic. And finally also I want to mention that we need the idea of chain rule also, and chain rule for various functions. Various function means if a function is of 2 variables, if a function is of 3 variables, and if there are expressions of implicit functions, that means z is a function of x and y, where y is a function of x, or z is a function of x, y and w, where w is a function of x and y, in this manner. And the branch wise chain rule was discussed in the last 2 classes. That will be also very much important for this class. So first of all, we want to define one concept called homogeneous function. So what we have got here as the definition, that if we have capital X as a subset of Rn, because we are now going to define it in general form. Rn means R cross R cross R, means in n dimension, and the function f which is going from capital X to R, that means it is a subset of Rn to R, means it is a real valued function. It will be called homogeneous of degree k if for all x in capital X, that means all x are obviously in the concept of n tuple, and all lambda greater than 0 with lambda x obviously in capital X, means lambda is a scalar quantity now at this moment you can assume. Then the requirement for being homogeneous function of degree k, if we substitute in place of x lambda x, then we will get lambda to the power k fx. So if we get after substitution lambda x is lambda fx, that means it will be a homogeneous function of degree 1. If it is lambda square fx, then it will be a homogeneous function of degree 2, and so on. We will be discussing the examples of homogeneous function in the next slides. Look at this. There are some observations related to homogeneous functions. They are, if we take 0 as an element of capital X, and if f is homogeneous of degree k which is not equal to 0, then f0 is equal to f lambda 0 is equal to lambda to the power k f0, we can write it. So setting lambda equal to 2, we see that f0 is equal to 2 to the power k f0, which implies f0 is equal to 0. Clear? So what we get, that for these types of functions f0 should go to 0. Now, and obviously we must mention that it is also very important to keep it in our mind for keeping this f0 equal to 0, that k is not equal to 0. So the question is, in the case of k equal to 0, what are the examples we can give? So we get a constant function is homogeneous of degree 0. A constant function means if you take fx equal to suppose 3, and then if you are putting f of lambda x, then also it will be 3 because it is a constant function. Now this 3 can be written as lambda to the power 0 fx. I think there will be no confusion on this because 3 is fx, and to make it comparable with this particular expression we can write it as lambda to the power 0 because it is 1. So what we get, the power of lambda is 0 and the whole function is expressed in the form of lambda to the power k fx. So from this we can conclude that a constant function is homogeneous of degree 0. Now in the next observation, if a function is homogeneous of degree 0, then it is constant on rays from the origin. On rays from the origin means you are going to get something like this. Okay. And finally, we are getting another information that linear functions are homogeneous of degree 1. Linear functions means you know that where the degree is 1 of the independent variable. So proceeding further, we get some problems and verifications. We are considering one polynomial. Now the polynomial is in x and y. That means it is a function of two variables. It will be said to homogeneous if all its terms are of same degree. So what is that? F of xy is equal to x square minus 2xy plus 3y square. So check it. The first term here is having degree 2. The next term here is also having degree 2 because x to the power 1, y to the power 1. So ultimately it is x into y. So the degree of this particular term is 2. And y square is also 2. So we are claiming that if this is a polynomial where this particular condition is maintained, it is going to be a homogeneous function. Now a function fxy is homogeneous of degree n in a region D if and only if xy is in D, and for every positive value of lambda, f of lambda x lambda y means we are substituting in place of x lambda x and in place of y lambda y, and we get lambda to the power n fxy. The number n is positive, negative or 0 and need not to be an integer. Always it is not guaranteed that it has to be integer. Now I want to say that if you want to check this example for verification purpose by this particular property which is mentioned for homogeneous, what you see, f of lambda x lambda y is equal to, in place of x it will be lambda x, so it will be lambda square x square minus 2. In place of x it is lambda x, and in place of y it is lambda y, so it will be lambda square xy, then plus 3 y square, y is lambda y, we are substituting, so it will be lambda square y square. In the next line what we can do, we can take lambda square common, it will be x square minus 2xy plus 3y square. Okay, so can I write that it is lambda square f of x comma y? I think I can write it. So now you can check that f of lambda x lambda y is equal to lambda square f of y, which is matching with this particular criteria, and here the degree the power of lambda is n, here the power of lambda is 2. So this given function, this given polynomial is a homogeneous function of degree. Clear? And there is one more example, that fxy is equal to x to the power 1 by 3 and y to the power minus 4 by 3 tan inverse y by x. So I think it is very much clear for you that if you want to substitute lambda x lambda y over here, this tan of lambda y by lambda x will remain as tan inverse y by x, and this will give you the power lambda to the power 1 by 3 and then lambda to the power minus 4 by 3. So if you add them, you will get the result is coming as minus 1. It will be a homogeneous function where the power of lambda will be minus 1. So we can conclude that it will be a homogeneous function of degree minus 1. And if you want to measure this, I am just requesting you to measure this one, that putting lambda x and lambda y, what we can get. The thing is that all the terms has to be of same degree to become homogeneous, and what we get, this is having 1 by 3 minus 2 by 3. So it is having minus 1 by 3 in nutshell, and similarly it is 2 by 3 minus 1 by 3, so it is having 1 by 3 in nutshell. Are they same? No. So obviously it is not going to be homogeneous. Now we are going to introduce another theorem. It is Euler's theorem. Actually you got this name in the name of this particular topic, so we are actually entering in the next part, that is Euler's theorem. Euler's theorem tells us that let fxy is a homogeneous function. Now you can understand why we have discussed homogeneous function, because our discussion starts with the term that we have a function fxy which is a homogeneous function of degree n in the region R. Otherwise there is no need to discuss this one. And also it is required that fx and fy, that means partial differentiation with respect to x and partial differentiation with respect to y, both are continuous in R. Okay, then Euler's theorem tells us that fxx means partial differentiation of f with respect to x into x plus partial differentiation of y into y is equal to n into f of xy for all xy in R. So we can write it in our general notation as x del f del x plus y del f del y is equal to nf, where f is a function of x and y and it is homogeneous, and the degree of that homogeneous function is n. Now think, suppose this is the Euler's theorem and we are trying to apply for a function fxy which is homogeneous of degree 0. Suppose, then Euler's theorem will give you the relationship that the result of x del f del x plus y del f del y will be 0, because it will be multiplied with n. Now one can think that what is the benefit of learning this? Now think about it. If f is a very complicated function or very complicated expression, then calculation of del f del x, calculation of del f del y are not very easy. But if we need x into del f del x plus y into del f del y, instead of calculating del f del x or del f del y, if we are able to check that f is a homogeneous function of degree n, then instead of calculating this, we can use Euler's theorem to get the answer. So let us start a problem. So it is given that u is equal to sine inverse x plus y by root over x plus root over y. Then show that x square del 2u del x2 plus 2xy del 2u del x del y plus y square del 2u del y is equal to this. So you have to show this. Think about it first. up to our knowledge, up to our previous classes discussion, what will be the process? We will try to find out in straightforward manner, as u is available to us, what will be del u del x, what will be del u del y, what will be del 2u del x2, what will be del 2u del y2, and what will be del 2u del x2 del x del y. And believe me, there are 5 expressions we have to calculate and they are not so easy. Instead of that, can we have any help from Euler's theorem? Now, if we want to take the help from Euler's theorem, then obviously the function we want to channelize through Euler's theorem, that has to be homogeneous. But here we see that if we consider this u, and if we want to check whether this u is homogeneous or not, u is a function of x and y, we have to check whether u tx ty is equal to t to the power n u xy. But I think it is clear to you that if you put tx ty in this particular expression, it is not possible for you to bring out that t with some power from sine inverse sine. It is not possible. So if we want to proceed the problem with u, and we will try to make it homogeneous or not, it will not be the process to proceed. Let us check how we will proceed. So it is completely given to us that u is not a homogeneous function, what I have already discussed. What we are doing, we are assuming w as a function whose expression is sine u. Here, so sine u is x plus y by root over x plus root over y. We are assuming this as f of xy. Okay. You can write it directly as f of xy without taking it at w, but at per your choice, you can write it in this manner also. But our job is to check whether this function a is homogeneous or not. If so, then we can apply Euler's theorem in this function. So look at this, we are checking it as the previous manner. We are putting x, lambda x in place of x and lambda y in place of y. So x plus y will be lambda x plus lambda y, and root over x plus root over y will be root over of lambda x plus root over of lambda y. Now if you want to take common root over of lambda from the denominator and lambda from the numerator, you will get this expression. Now lambda to the power half is in the denominator and lambda to the power 1 is in the numerator. So balancing them, you will get lambda to the power half. And the remaining part is x plus y by root over x plus y, which is nothing but, this is nothing but the function fxy. So can't we write lambda to the power half fxy? I think it is clear to all of you that the function f is a homogeneous function of, obviously you have to mention it, of degree half. Now once these two informations are there in our hand, we can say that we can use Euler's theorem for w, or rather we can use the Euler's theorem for f. So as w is homogeneous function of degree half, therefore from Euler's theorem we can write x del u del w del x plus y del w del y is equal to half w. Just this is our Euler's theorem. Okay. Now after that we are substituting w by u because w was not there in our question. Our question consists of u. So whatever the intermediate steps we have performed, finally we have to give the answer in terms of u. So in place of w, it is written as half sine u. Clear? Now look at this. We can calculate del w del x because our job is not to show this. Our job is to show this problem, this expression. So in place of del w del x, we can write cos u del x. Why? Because w is a function of u, we have assumed, and if we partially differentiate w with respect to x, Actually, we have to differentiate sine u with respect to u and then del u del x. This is simple application of chain rule. That is why del w del x is cos u del u del x and del w del y is cos u del y. So substituting these values in this Euler's theorem expression, what we get, in place of del w del x we are writing cos u del u del x, and in place of del w del y we are writing cos u del y. So substituting here we get x cos u del u del x plus y cos u del y is equal to half sin u. From where this half sin u came? This half sin u came in from this. After that we can write by taking cos u common and making it in the denominator part of this particular expression. We can write it as x del u del x plus y del u del y is equal to half tan u. So this is our first expression. We have reached to first order partial differentiation of u with respect to x, first order partial differentiation of u with respect to y. But requirement is that second order partial differentiation with respect to x, second order partial differentiation with respect to y, and obviously the mixed derivative with respect to x and y both. So differentiating one partially with respect to x, what we get? X is kept as it was, and del u del x is differentiated partially with respect to x. It is del 2u del x2. According to the multiplication rule, then del u del x will be kept as it was and x will be partially differentiated with respect to x and it will be 1. That is why these two terms came from the first term. And from the second term, y is kept as it was and del u del y is partially differentiated with respect to x, so it will be giving you del 2u del x del y. Then del u del y is kept as it was and y is differentiated partially with respect to x, which will give you 0. That is why this term is having one term contribution, not more than one, but this is having two terms contribution. And in the right hand side, half tan u is present. We are differentiating it partially with respect to x. We can write it as half sec square u del u del x, means we are differentiating it with respect to u and then we are adjusting the thing with respect to the concept of chain rule. So finally what we get from this calculation, that x del 2u del x2 plus y del 2u del x del y is equal to half sec square u minus 1, because I am taken del u del x in this part and then I have taken del u del x common to get this one, half sec square u minus 1. Now we will proceed for the next part of the problem, but I think almost all of you, maybe all of you, have the clue in your mind that what will be our next step. And I think all of you are right that the next step is nothing but the differentiation, partial differentiation of 1 with respect to y, and then only we will get y del 2u del y2 term, which is required by the question. So it is obviously very much clear that differentiating the equation number 1 partially with respect to y, we will have this particular expressions, and after simplifying we can write that x del 2u del x del y plus y del 2u del y2 is equal to this del 2 del u del y will be taken into the right hand side to take del u del y common for minus for half sec square u minus 1. So what is remaining? The remaining thing is nothing but to add them. But before that, we have to multiply the equation number 2 by x and multiplying the equation number 3 by y. Why we are multiplying it? Because our requirement is x square, y square and 2xy, but we get in this case x and y. So if we multiply it by y, this y will become y square, this x will become xy. Similarly, for the second equation, if we multiply that by x, the first term will become x square and the second term will become xy. So adding them, we will get our desired expression x square del 2u del x2 plus 2xy del 2u del x del y plus y square del 2u del y2, and then we will just write the values of them, and then taking common we will get this one. Already you got that this is also achieved by Euler's theorem for given function u, and the result was half tan u in the previous slide. After that, it is a mere calculation of trigonometry or adjustment, you can say, and we will get the answer as desired. So this problem ends here. Now we will solve one problem related to this particular idea. So let us start a problem of verification of Euler's theorem. So verification of Euler's theorem in this form, already sine inverse cos inverse part is over, so I am not entering into the repetition of sine inverse cos inverse. Instead of that, we are trying to discuss a problem which will be a small problem but a little tricky. U is equal to this condition is also given. Okay, it is given. The question is, what should be the value of k so that x del u del x plus y del u del y is equal to k u. Clear? So the expression of u is given, and they are also saying that it will be in this form. They want to know only the value of k. So looking at this expression, I think all of you are having this information in your mind. You have already cooked this information that we must use something related to Euler's theorem. And whenever you are thinking for Euler's theorem, obviously the function under Euler's theorem, you want to check it whether it is homogeneous or not. So what is the function under consideration here? U is equal to x square plus y square by root over x plus y. We have to check whether this is actually, you can write it as u is a function of x and y. So we will check whether u tx ty, you can write lambda x lambda y, anything. So it will be t square x square plus t square y square by root over tx plus ty. In the next line, I can write it as root over t into root over x plus y, and here it is t square x square plus y. So it is t to the power 2, it is t to the power half. This half will be in the above part, it will be t to the power 2 minus half, then x square plus y square by root over x plus y, and we can write it as t to the power 3 by 2 into x square plus y square by root over x is nothing but u. So what we get, that this is means u is a homogeneous function of degree 3 by 2. And if it is a homogeneous function of degree 3 by 2, applying Euler's theorem, what we can write? Applying Euler's theorem, we can write it as x del u del x plus y del u del y is equal to n u. Here u is the function under consideration. So it will be n u. N means here 3 by 2. So 3 by 2 u. Now comparing this line with the given line which is asked, we will get the value of k is equal to 3 by 2. So these are very easy problems what you can think for. Like that, we can have another problem of similar type where f of xy is equal to tan inverse y by x plus sin inverse x by y. Whenever some inverse functions are coming, we can think for that they may be complicated. The question is, find the value of x del f del x plus y del f del y at the point 1 comma 1. So I am not going to solve this problem for you. I am just going to give you the clue. Whenever you are seeing y by x or x by y, it will be going to be homogeneous, because when you are going to put y is equal to tx ty and x equal to tx, that will be cancelled out. So again the function will be coming. So you can write ultimately that fxy is equal to t to the power 0 fxy, and if you can write it as, it will be ftx ty t to the power 0 fxy. So you can write it as a homogeneous function with degree 0, and if it is homogeneous function with degree 0, this expression will be 0, because 0 into f of xy will be 0. So whatever may be the point, this is something like some tricky things given to you, that whatever the point, as it is coming as 0, so the value of this expression at 1 1 or at 1 2 or at 1 3, whatever may be the case, will be 0. Okay, so these are the overviews of application of homogeneous functions and Euler's theorem for the function of several variables. Now we are going to stop this lecture for this class, and there are some assignments for you, and you have to solve those assignments to get confidence on this particular calculation and particular part. And finally, I want to mention that these are the references I have used for preparing this lecture. So thank you all. Happy listening, happy learning.